Welcome friends. Welcome to this video where we will learn how to do orthodontic wire bending exercise, and as a part of the exercise, first we will learn how to make a 3/4 clasp, also called as C clasp, which is a very common clasp used for the fabrication of orthodontic appliances along with the Adams clasp. So without wasting time, we will straightway come to how this is done. So first of all is armamentarium required. So for any kind of wire bending, we of course needs pliers. So this is the most common plier which we use for almost all kind of wire bending for movable appliances. This is a universal plier. You can see one beak is flat and the other beak is round, half round. So this is a universal plier which is being used, and the other is Adam clasp or Adam pliers, I would say. So this has two flat beaks, you can see, and along with we have to have a cutter, heavy wire cutter or hard wire cutter. So the cutter used for removal orthodontic appliances exercise and for fixed orthodontic appliances are different, and this cutter can be used to cut the 21, 22 or 23 gauge wire, and of course the cutter used for fixed orthodontic appliances should not be used for the removable orthodontic appliances, because the wire used for fixed orthodontic purposes is very thin in diameter compared to wire which is used for removable orthodontic appliances. So then we have a scale, metal scale. These are the most standardized scale. They don't get deformed and they have the marking which doesn't go away. So this is always needed for orthodontic purpose. We have a then permanent marker to mark where we have to mark, and this is a flat file, very common thing. To file the straight portion of the wire, when we do wire straightening exercise we need to file the wire, so we use this is a flat file, or you can say filer. Of course we need orthodontic casts. They can be ideal cast, this is maxillary cast, and this is mandibular ideal cast, and you might have to do it on patient cast, so the cast will be on a patient cast in cases if you have to do it on the patients. Then of course we need the wire. So this is I already taken it out. This is a 0.70 mm stainless steel wire by Smith, and also 22 gauge wire in diameter. So straight away we start. So first of all we will take a maxillary cast. So let us understand the mechanism of a clasp. How does it work? So basically clasp, they provide the retention. How do they provide retention? They provide retention by engaging the undercuts of the tooth. Now tooth is not a flat thing. It has a curvature running from occlusal to gingival and also from mesial to distal, and the height of curvature is almost at the center of this tooth. So anything which engages, you can say, below this height of contour need to be removed by some springy action. It has to cross the height of contour to come out. So that is how the clasp, they derive retention by engaging the various undercuts. A C clasp engages the buccal undercut on the buccal surface of the molars, like this undercut. I will not mark it here, otherwise so I can just use the wire to tell you this is the undercut which is there, which will be used by the 3/4 clasp or C clasp to give the retention to the appliance. So very important thing in wire bending is that we don't only want to ultimately achieve the target of a good wire bending, but we want to do it in a more efficient and effective manner. So being a doctor, we should always be knowing how to use or how much wire to be used for a particular exercise. So for a 3/4 clasp we just need almost 3 to 4 inches of wire, because 1 inch wire will be used to cover the tooth, another 2 inch wire will be used to make a retentive arm on the palatal aspect of this cast. So you hardly need 3 to 4 inches of wire. More wire than what is needed would already hamper your work of wire bending exercise, because it will be unnecessarily long and difficult to manipulate. So we are taking almost 3 inches of wire here. So this is approximate 3 inches of wire, and cutting has to be, the wire cutting is always done so that we control both the ends of the wire, the main end from where the wire is being cut, and the tail end which will be used for the wire bending. So both the wire is in my hand. So of course when a wire is long enough you can do it, but when you have to cut a small pieces of wire, let us say you have to cut a very small piece of wire, let us say 3-4 millimeter of wire, so this mark you cannot hold it. So you can keep I have kept a gauge along with the cotton, so you can just keep it and you can just control this small piece of wire here. So as an student, whatever we learn as a student will go a long way in having good output, having we being a good student and we being good clinicians. So these exercise or these habits of controlling the wire, cutting the wire, they go a long way in telling you how much you have learned in your undergraduate classes or in your from your teachers. So we always control the wire. We don't let wire small pieces of wire to fly here and there, and which will be very dangerous also, and they can really cause any major or minor eye injury. So we have cut this wire. So as said, we have to adapt it on the buccal surface of the first molar of maxillary arch. So buccal surface of maxillary molar, if we see, looks like a C, where this wire has to adapt. Like this looks like a C. So this is C in this plane also, in vertical plane, and C in this plane also. If we see from occlusal also, it is C, and from this plane also. So first we will make a C by using a universal plier and bending it against the round end of the wire. We have already grossly straightened this wire, because wire has been taken from a spool which is round in shape or circular in shape. So we have already grossly straightened the wire. So now we will start from one end and we will just make a C along the one end of the wire. So this is how we have made a C. So you will see that once we have made a, so you can see this C on a flat surface also. I'll show you. So this is the C, you can see. Let me do it a little bit more. So we have made this, you can see this. You can see that once we have made the C, these ends they are this end and this end they are lying away from, because tooth is not flat, it is having a curvature along the mesodistal aspect and up from the, when we see from occlusal side, and also have a curvature from occlusal to gingival when we see from the occlusal aspect. So this C has to be converted into, it is the C is in this plane. Now this C has to be made in horizontal plane also. So we will hold this wire and we will make a C in horizontal plane also. So you will see now this has come more closer to what was needed. So we will engage this more. So you can see this has been engaged here, and we will just do it a little bit more in the vertical plane. Yes, this is, and again in the horizontal plane. So now almost this portion of the C, the mesial end of the C has been formed. Now this wire needs to be engaged in this undercut, which is there in the you can say gingival embryo between first and the second molar. So we have to engage this wire in this depth. So this is a little tricky thing. So we just need to do a sharp bend by holding this wire. You can use Adam plier also. So we have made it like this in a horizontal plane. So you can see C is in this plane also. It is in this plane and it is in this plane also. So both in horizontal plane as well as in vertical plane you can see there is a C. So once we have, can you see this mark? So we will do a bend by holding this in vertical plane and making it a posterior push, and this is how this should adapt. See? So this has been adapted like this, and now we just need to make it little straighter because now it is lying away from the teeth. So this wire should come closer to the marginal ridge between first and second molar, that is here. So we will just, maybe the band has been done a little bit more, so we will just unwind it and now see again. See, it is. So at this stage you can again it is lying a little bit. So this band has make sure that the undercut area or between the gingival embryo has been engaged, which is there in the below the contact point of the first and the second molar. So we will just do it. The band is a little bit more, so we will reduce it so that it lies closer to what is required. So now if I explain you on a paper, this is the buccal aspect, this is the palatal aspect, right? So the contact point is this area with the other teeth. So we have to engage this wire here, but here it cannot go vertically up. It has to go this way and then engage the buccal ridge area or the marginal ridge area, and then engage the lingual gingival area or the palatal gingival area, and then this has to adapt on the palate. So the shape of the engagement at this junction would be in this shape. Have you got it? So this point is what we have just bent now. From here the wire will come out and engage the marginal ridge at the first and second molar area, adapt onto the marginal ridge on the occlusal surface, which is below the cusp tip area. It is not at the same height, and again go down so as to engage it like a clip-like mechanism. So this forms a clip to engage the contact area of the first and second molar. Now we will just see, and in all the clasp this is the same, this mechanism remains the same. So we have done this, and now we will give a mark from where you can bend it over the, now we are giving this bend. So we have already marked it, so we will give this bend. It has been given. So now this band is going a little bit more easily, so we can just straighten it out. Now we have done it. Yes, now it is going exactly between the first and the second molar. So now again the second bend on the palatal aspect will come. This bend will go and will try to adapt this wire in this undercut area below the contact point area. So we will mark it here. You can see the mark. Mark is very important in wire bending. So we have marked it and we have bent it. Now this point becomes very tricky because the wire has been bent downward and it is interfering in seating purpose. So we might have to cut the wire a little bit so that we can check over what we have done with the wire, or maybe we can do it in a, we can do a small curvature, which is otherwise also needed when we will be making a retentive arm. So the bend has been a little bit more, so we will just unwind it. So this is how. Again the bend is a little bit more, so we are again unwinding it. It is interfering in the seating of the car, so we will again cut this wire a little bit more. So now see, this wire is engaging the buccal surface area as well as the marginal ridge area, and now it is coming down and it is not interfering here. So this much is the wire needed, but this wire is coming straight in the area of the navel brachia, so we have to little bit maintain its depth. So what we will do is that after this bend 2 to 3 millimeter, we will try to adapt it by moving it little bit down. So we will make a outward curvature and then accentuate this bend little bit more. So this is how. So a little bit more is needed. And this little bit more. So I will just accentuate it a little bit more. this is how it should come up. This has been almost made. Now we have already made this. So now you can see this wire has been engaged at both the places, and now we have to adapt it on the palatal aspect. See, we will adapt it a little bit more. I will just cut this tip of the wire, or we will just leave it to the last. So you can see this, see adaptation at this area, and now at this area. So we will just make a retentive tag also, which can be a simple tag, or you can make a loop also. So I will just make a loop. So we have enough wire with us. So we have make a loop. So this is how you can make it. We almost done it. We'll just little bit tighten it. So this is almost done. You can see if I am moving my finger on this, it is not lifting, right? So it is engaged at this place in this undercut area, here in this undercut area. Maybe a little bit improvement can be done more. That's it. So you can see the C is engaging on the undercut area from mesial to distal, from occlusal to cervical, and also engaging the contact point undercut area. And now this retentive arm is having a space between the wire and the you can say cast. So acrylic can flow underneath it, and it can be tightly, or it can be securely held by the acrylic portion. So this is a retentive loop also, which can be used. It can be a loop, it can be anything. So you can see it is very passive. It's like you don't need any effort to place it. So just this. So what do most commonly we see that we are able to make clasps, but they don't fit in a passive manner. So we have to make some effort to place them into the right place. So now we are not making any effort. We're just lifting it and passively placing it, just dab dab, and it goes securely to its place. And it will not drop also, because it is being retained by the retentive undercut which is present in the tooth itself. This is how you can fabricate a C-clasp. So the clasp basically differ in the mechanism of retention in the buccal aspect. Otherwise, the part after adapting the mesiobuccal and the distobuccal undercut are the same. In Adam clasp, you will have to make a arrowhead which will engage in the mesial undercut area, mesiobuccal and the distobuccal undercut area, and rest of the things will remain the same. They will have two retentive tags because it is a this clasp is formed on the mesial and distal aspect of any tooth, whichever tooth is selected. So this is a what kind of clasp? Mesial or distal? This is a C clasp on the distal aspect of the first molar. You might have to fabricate on the mesial aspect, then this C will engage here and it will be altogether opposite in nature. So depending upon the extension of the appliance you want to give, extension of the acrylic portion of the appliance is concerned, you can fabricate either on the mesial or the distal aspect. So all preference should be given it to make it on the mesial aspect, because otherwise now we have made it on distal aspect. Now acrylic cannot be less than this area, because this wire is lying here. Had it been on the mesial aspect, this would have been here wire and acrylic would have been reduced. So all effort should be done so that we can put it on the mesial aspect. But so the indication of this clasp is this can be used where the tooth has not erupted sufficiently. This clasp can be used. Like in many cases in younger children, when the appliance is to be given, the first or the second molar is erupting, right? Like at 8-9 years of age, first molar is erupting, it has not erupted fully. So distal marginal ridge of the tooth may not be sufficiently erupted to engage it on the distal marginal ridge, but mesial marginal ridge is already there. Mesial contact point is sufficiently exposed, so you can make it on the mesial aspect. Because in that cases, Adam clasp cannot be fabricated because distal aspect is still lower in terms of eruption than the mesial aspect. Only you can use a C clasp in those cases, and this is how you use a 3/4 clasp or a C clasp. Thank you.